Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into Jim Collins's Beyond Entrepreneurship 2.0.
Yeah.
It's kind of a guide to building a company that not just succeeds, but thrives over the long term. We're going to be focusing on the 2020 updates, so bringing in those fresh insights for a world that's definitely changed a lot.
Absolutely. It's a world that demands a new kind of leadership. It's not just about, the old playbooks anymore.
Right.
And what I find so compelling about this book is how Collins dismantles that whole myth of the leadership personality.
Yeah.
He really argues that there's no one-size-fits-all mold, for what makes a great leader.
Yeah, he uses Wendy Kopp, the founder of Teach for America, as a prime example, right?
Exactly.
I mean, she built this incredible organization, but she's not necessarily, she's not the first person you would picture, right?
Oh.
Leading a movement.
That's exactly the point. She's known for being more reserved, not your stereotypical, booming CEO type.
Yeah.
But Collins took her to speak at West Point. And even those cadets, those tough military minds,
Right.
They were captivated by her leadership.
So what's the secret sauce then? It's not charisma. It's about discovering your leadership gifts.
Precisely. Collins believes that everyone has these unique strengths
Yeah.
that they can leverage to lead effectively.
Yeah.
You've got folks like Ann Mulcahy who are incredible orators, and then you have someone like Herb Kelleher from Southwest Airlines,
Right.
who built a company culture based on fun and respect.
So you're telling me I don't need to force myself to become some extroverted, backslapping stereotype.
Yeah.
I just need to figure out what my strengths are and how to use them to inspire a team.
You got it. Think about it. What are you naturally good at? What energizes you?
Right.
That's where you're going to find your most powerful leadership style.
I like that.
But, having a great leadership style is just the first step, right?
Yeah.
You also need an incredible team to make that vision a reality.
Right. And Collins talks about Steve Jobs' return to Apple.
Yeah.
And how he compared finding the right people to seeking out hidden Jedi.
He did. He wanted those individuals who were, deeply passionate about Apple's mission.
Right.
That kind of dedication is what fuels a company's success,
Yeah, but let's be honest, building a team isn't always rainbows and butterflies.
No, it's not.
What happens when you have someone who, isn't quite cutting it, but you hesitate to make a change?
Well, that's what Collins calls being tilted toward replace.
Yeah.
And it's a trap
Okay.
that so many leaders fall into.
Yeah.
They hold on to people out of loyalty or hope that, things will improve, but it's clear that it's not the right fit.
Makes sense. I've definitely been there hoping someone would step up, but sometimes you got to make those tough calls, right?
You do.
For the good of the company. But how do you know when it's time to make that tough call?
Well, Collins doesn't offer some, hard and fast rule. It's more about honestly assessing, performance and potential.
Yeah.
If someone's consistently underperforming or their values just don't align with the company's, it might be time to consider a change.
So it's about having those difficult conversations early on, setting clear expectations, making sure everyone's on the same page.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And don't forget about the trust wager.
Okay.
It's an idea from Bill Lazier, Collins' mentor,
Okay.
about the upside of extending trust, even when it feels risky.
So you're telling me it's better to trust and sometimes be disappointed
Yeah.
than to constantly second guess your team.
Think about it this way. When you trust people, you empower them to rise to the occasion. Sure, there's a chance of being let down, but the potential gains from a highly motivated and trusted team, they far outweigh those risks.
Okay. Yeah, that's an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
And it kind of ties into what we were discussing earlier.
Yeah.
About empowering people based on their strengths rather than micromanaging their every move.
Exactly. It all comes back to creating an environment
Yeah.
where your team can thrive and do their best work.
Right.
But even the best teams face challenges, right?
Right.
What do you do when things get tough? When you're staring down seemingly insurmountable obstacles?
That's where the Stockdale paradox comes in, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a little fuzzy on that one, though. Can you remind me what that's all about?
Sure. It's named after Admiral Jim Stockdale, a Vietnam POW,
Oh, wow.
who endured unimaginable hardship. The paradox is this. You have to maintain unwavering faith that you'll ultimately prevail,
Okay.
while also confronting the brutal facts of your current reality.
So it's not about being delusional.
No.
It's about acknowledging the difficulties,
Yeah,
but not letting them crush your spirit.
exactly.
How do you apply that to something like, building a company?
It's about having the grit to face those challenges head on
Yeah.
while maintaining the belief that you can overcome them.
Right.
That's the genius of the A&D.
Yeah.
Holding on to both optimism and realism at the same time.
So when you get hit with a setback, don't sugarcoat it, but don't despair either. Keep pushing forward, believing in your vision, but stay grounded in the reality of the situation.
Right. It's a powerful mindset for navigating the ups and downs
Right.
of any ambitious endeavor.
I like that. This all makes sense, but I'm wondering how it connects to a company's overall vision.
Well, Collins argues that a clear vision, it's like your North Star.
Okay.
It guides every decision you make. He compares it to the U.S. involvement in Vietnam.
Okay.
The lack of a clear vision really contributed to their ultimate failure.
Right.
While a strong vision, it's absolutely essential for building a successful company.
So how do you define a company's vision?
Well, Collins breaks it down into these levels, kind of like a pyramid,
Okay.
At the base, you have your core values,
Okay.
then your purpose, your mission,
Yeah.
and finally at the top, your BHAG.
BHAG. What's that?
It stands for Big, Hairy, Audacious Goal.
Okay.
It's that ambitious, long-term target. That really pushes you to think big.
Like shooting for the moon, even if you might land among the stars.
Exactly.
What are some examples of BHAs?
Think about Merck. With their BHA to be the world's leading drug maker, or Sony, their goal to dominate the consumer electronics market.
Wow.
It's not about those incremental improvements.
Yeah.
It's about striving for something truly transformative.
So how do I go about defining a BHA for my company? What if my moonshot feels too outlandish?
It's about thinking big,
Mm-hmm.
but it also needs to be rooted in your core values and purpose,
Yeah.
Think about it this way. What would make you jump out of bed every morning,
Right.
excited to tackle the day,
Yeah.
even if it seems impossible to achieve?
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it. It's not just about size, it's about impact and inspiration.
Yeah,
Something that truly motivates you and your team.
exactly. That's the essence of a BAG. It's about setting your sights high
Right.
and rallying your team around that shared ambition.
Right.
But once you have that vision, that BAG,
Mm-hmm.
you need a strategy to bring it to life.
Right.
And that's what we'll be discussing next.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
All right, so we've got our BHAG, our North Star.
Right.
Now we need a roadmap to get there.
Absolutely.
That's where strategy comes in.
Exactly. Strategy is the how.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
the bridge between your big vision and, the actions you take every day to make it happen.
But isn't strategy something that only those big consulting firms with their fancy frameworks, understand?
Not at all.
Okay.
Collins really emphasizes that a good strategy doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah.
He says the best small company strategists, they just think clearly and strategically about their goals.
So ditch the jargon and just focus on what works.
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
Keep it simple.
What about, examples of leaders who nailed their strategy?
Well, think about Sam Walton in Walmart.
Okay.
His strategy was laser focused on efficiency.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy wouldn't even rent a car, fancier than a subcompact, even when he was hosting, VIPs from vendors.
Wow. We talk about walking the walk.
Right.
But frugality was only one part of it, right?
Right. Collins points out that Walton actually copied J.C. Penney's 7 business principles
Oh, really?
straight into Walmart's early operations manual. So he saw a winning model and he adapted it brilliantly.
So sometimes it's about recognizing what's already working and making it your own.
Absolutely. It's about learning from the best
Right.
and tailoring those lessons to your unique context.
I like that.
But strategy is also about knowing yourself,
Okay.
knowing your strengths and weaknesses.
Right.
Collins even recommends getting anonymous feedback from your team.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine asking your employees for brutally honest feedback on what the company needs to improve?
That's a bold move.
It is. But, if you're truly committed to building a great company,
Yeah.
you got to be willing to face that reality.
Okay, so it's about confronting reality even when it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Only then can you build a strategy that's, based on truth.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together.
Yeah.
Vision, strategy, honest self-assessment. It's like building a house. You need that strong foundation
You got it.
to support those big dreams.
Exactly. But remember, even with a great plan, there are going to be bumps along the road.
Right.
That's where Collins' idea of big bets comes in.
Big bets. Sounds risky.
Well, they can be, but they're not about gambling blindly.
Okay.
He uses Intel as an example.
Okay.
They meticulously tested multiple approaches to memory chips before going all in on the one that showed real promise.
So it's like the bullets then cannonballs approach, right?
Exactly.
Test the waters before diving in head first.
Exactly. It's about calculated risks informed by research and experimentation.
Okay, let's say we've got our vision, our strategy, and
Yeah.
we're making these calculated big bets.
Right.
What about growth? How fast is too fast?
That's a great question. And Collins actually cautions against the allure of rapid growth. It might sound counterintuitive,
Yeah.
but he argues that growing too quickly can actually be harmful in the long run.
Hold on. Isn't growth usually a good thing?
Well, on the surface,
Yeah.
yeah. But he makes the point that super fast growth can mask inefficiencies.
Okay.
It can overstretch your team and even dilute your company culture.
Right.
It's like trying to build a skyscraper on a foundation that's meant for a two-story house.
So it's about finding that sweet spot,
Yeah,
a pace of growth that allows you to expand
right.
without sacrificing quality or your core values.
Exactly. He uses University National Bank as an example.
Okay.
Their CEO, Bill Schmidt, intentionally capped growth at 15% a year to maintain their values and culture.
Can you imagine a CEO actually saying no to more growth?
Pretty rare.
Yeah.
But it's a powerful reminder that staying true to your vision sometimes means making tough choices, even when everyone else is telling you to go bigger faster.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned something earlier that I kind of want to circle back to.
Yeah.
You talked about the difference between great companies and those that truly stand the test of time.
Right.
What makes some companies thrive for decades while others just fade away?
Well, Collins actually explored this in depth with Jerry Porras
Right.
in their book, Built to Last.
Yes.
And one of their key findings was this idea of preserving the core while stimulating progress.
So you have to hold on to those core values that define you while also being open to innovation and change.
Right. It's a tough balancing act.
It is.
But the companies that achieve that lasting greatness, they've mastered that duality.
Right.
They're like master chefs,
Yeah.
refining their signature dish
Right.
while also experimenting with new flavors.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So it's about evolving without losing sight of what makes you, well.
Exactly. What other insights did they uncover?
Yeah. What else?
Well, they talk about this idea of clock building, not time telling. Time tellers are those charismatic leaders
Right.
who drive the company forward
Yeah.
based on their personality.
Okay.
But when they leave the company, often flounders.
It's like they're the engine, and without them, the whole machine stalls.
Exactly. Clock builders, on the other hand, they focus on creating systems and processes and a culture that empowers everyone to contribute,
Right.
even after the founding leader is gone.
So it's about empowering others and creating a legacy that extends beyond any single individual.
Absolutely.
I'm guessing that's a lot harder than it sounds.
It definitely takes conscious effort, but it's essential for that lasting success.
Right. And you need to be aware of the pitfalls, what Collins calls the 5 stages of decline.
Yeah.
Decline. We're trying to build something great here, not watch it crumble.
I hear you, but understanding these stages can help you avoid them.
Okay.
It starts with hubris, born of success.
Okay.
Then you have undisciplined pursuit of more,
Okay.
followed by denial of risk and peril, grasping for salvation, and finally, capitulation to irrelevance or death.
Yikes. That's a slippery slope.
It is. How do you prevent your company from tumbling down that path?
Yeah. How do you do that?
Well, Collins talks about the importance of productive paranoia.
Okay.
It's not about
Oh.
being a pessimist.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about having a healthy dose of skepticism.
Right.
Always asking what-if questions, even when things are going well.
So don't get too comfortable. Always be prepared for those potential challenges, even when you're on top of the world.
Exactly. It's about staying humble, staying vigilant, and never taking your success for granted.
Okay, so far we've covered vision strategy building for the long haul.
Right.
What about the nuts and bolts of making it all happen? How do you translate those big ideas into concrete actions?
That's where execution comes in.
Right.
It's about getting things done day in and day out
Yeah.
with precision and consistency.
Okay.
Collins talks about building a culture of discipline.
But doesn't too much discipline stifle creativity? I mean, we were just talking about the importance of innovation.
Well, that's a common misconception.
Okay.
Collins actually believes that discipline and creativity, they're not mutually exclusive.
Okay.
In fact, he argues that true innovation requires a strong foundation of discipline.
So it's about finding that balance,
Right.
having the freedom to experiment within a framework of clear goals and processes.
Think of it like a jazz band.
Okay.
They have structure, they know the melody.
Yeah.
But within that framework, there's incredible freedom to improvise and create something new.
Okay, I like that. So how do we build that culture of discipline, that foundation for both execution and innovation?
It all starts with people.
Right.
Remember Collins's emphasis on hiring the right people, those hidden Jedi who are passionate about your mission.
Right. And then enculturating them, making sure they understand and embrace your core values.
Exactly. And then comes training.
Okay.
He believes that training should go beyond just teaching specific skills.
Okay.
It should instill the company's values and give everyone a deep understanding of their role in the bigger picture.
So it's not just about what they do, but why they do it.
Exactly.
How do you make training that engaging and effective?
We'll give us some great examples like Domino's Pizza using those training videos in all their stores,
Right.
and Stu Leonard's Dairy sending their employees to Dale Carnegie programs.
So getting creative with it.
Yeah.
I remember reading about companies like McDonald's and Apple even creating their own university.
Exactly. They're investing in their people,
Yeah.
making sure they have the knowledge and the skills to thrive.
Okay, so we've hired the right people, we've instilled our values, and we've given them top-notch training.
Right.
Now it's time to set goals, right?
Right. And Collins has a unique take on this.
Okay.
He actually suggests ditching that traditional annual review
Oh, wow.
and replacing it with a quarterly goal-setting process.
Quarterly, so more frequent check-ins and adjustments.
Exactly.
How does that work in practice?
Well, he highlights a manager named Don Lyle who uses this approach.
Okay.
It starts with the company's long-term vision and strategy, which is then broken down into annual goals and then further into personal quarterly goals for each individual.
So it's like a cascading effect, aligning everyone's efforts with the company's overarching vision.
Exactly. And those quarterly check-ins provide opportunities for feedback, course correction, and celebrating those successes along the way.
Makes sense. What about measuring progress? How do you know if you're actually on track to achieve those goals?
Well, Collins emphasizes clear metrics, both financial and non-financial, to gauge performance.
Okay.
He points to companies like Miller Business Systems, which tracks and posts their success rate for fulfilling customer orders within 24 hours.
Wow.
So they're holding themselves accountable.
Right. So it's about setting those clear targets and being transparent about your progress.
Exactly. What other examples does he give?
Yeah.
He talks about Deluxe Corporation, which set a BHAG back in 1936
Wow.
to continually reduce their printing defects and achieve a 2-day turnaround.
Talk about a long-term commitment to excellence.
Right. It's not like they're constantly raising the bar, challenging themselves to improve.
Exactly. It's about that relentless pursuit of better, never settling for good enough.
Right. But achieving tactical excellence also requires recognizing and celebrating those successes along the way.
Right. It's not all about metrics and deadlines. It's also about acknowledging the human element.
Absolutely.
What does Collins suggest for making appreciation truly meaningful?
It's not just about saying good job, it's
Yeah.
about personalized recognition
Okay.
that shows you that genuinely value their contributions.
So what are some examples of that?
Well, he talks about creating a pace setters club for top performers.
Okay.
Or offering a special reward like a night out for those who exceed their goals.
Oh, nice.
It's about making people feel seen and appreciated.
Okay, so we've covered hiring, enculturation, training, goal setting, measuring progress, and showing appreciation.
Right.
It sounds like a pretty comprehensive approach to building a high-performing team.
It is.
What else is essential for achieving tactical excellence?
Well, Collins stresses the importance of clear, concise communication.
Okay.
But not just any communication.
Yeah.
It needs to be authentic and engaging.
So ditch the corporate jargon and speak from the heart.
Exactly. What does he suggest for making communication more impactful?
Yeah.
He emphasizes the power of personal touch,
Okay.
even in those formal settings.
Right.
Imagine writing a memo that feels like a genuine conversation.
That's a refreshing change from the typical dry corporate memos.
It is. Any other communication tips?
Yeah.
Well, he stresses honesty and transparency.
Okay.
Even when delivering bad news.
Right.
He shares a story about a CEO who had to announce layoffs. And instead of sugarcoating it, he was very direct and empathetic,
Yeah.
acknowledging the impact on people's lives.
Right. That must have been a tough situation.
It was.
But I can see how honesty and empathy, even in hard times, can help build that trust and respect.
Absolutely. And he also encourages stimulating communication at all levels.
Okay.
Not just top-down directives.
Right.
It's about creating a dialogue, asking questions, and encouraging everyone to share their ideas and concerns.
So a culture of open communication where everyone feels heard and respected.
Precisely. But even with great communication, there's another challenge.
What's that?
Time management.
Oh, yeah. We've all got the same 24 hours.
We do. He makes a distinction between managing time and managing work.
Okay.
Work is infinite. There's always more to do,
Yeah. Always.
but time is finite.
Right. So how do you make the most of that limited time?
He suggests shifting your focus from what am I going to do to how am I going to spend my time.
That's interesting. So it's about being intentional and prioritizing what truly matters.
Exactly. What else does he recommend for effective time management?
Yeah. What else?
Well, he emphasizes the importance of personal involvement,
Okay.
especially when it comes to reinforcing your company's values.
Right.
He tells a story about Debbie Fields, founder of Mrs. Fields Cookies,
Yeah.
who once threw away $600 worth of cookies
Whoa.
because they weren't up to her standards.
$600. That's a powerful statement.
It showed her team that she wasn't just talking about quality.
Right.
She was willing to put her money where her mouth was.
So it's about leading by example,
Absolutely.
making sure your actions align with your words.
Right. And remember, while these principles offer a roadmap to tactical excellence,
Yeah.
there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
You need to adapt these ideas to your specific situation
Right.
and the unique challenges that you face.
Okay, so far we've covered a lot of ground.
Oh, yeah.
But there's one piece of the puzzle I'm still curious about.
What's that?
Innovation.
Ah, yes.
How do you keep a company creative and innovative
Right.
over the long haul?
That's where we'll pick up next time,
Okay.
as we dive into the world of innovation and explore how to foster that culture of creativity and ingenuity within your company.
Sounds good. Okay, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into Jim Collins's Beyond Entrepreneurship 2.0.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
We've covered so much ground already.
We have.
From leadership to building a team to creating a strategy for the long haul.
It's really the foundation for success.
We've saved, I think, one of the most crucial ingredients for last
Right.
innovation.
Yeah, innovation is key.
How do you keep that creative spark alive, especially as a company grows, and matures?
Right.
Isn't there a risk of becoming, too set in your ways?
Well, Collins argues that the real challenge, it's not coming up with new ideas.
Okay.
It's being receptive to them no matter where they come from. He calls this the woodwork factor.
The woodwork factor.
Yeah. Good ideas are often hiding in plain sight, just waiting to be discovered.
So it's not just about, brainstorming sessions and fancy innovation labs.
Right.
It's about creating a culture where people feel comfortable speaking up and sharing their ideas.
Absolutely. And not just sharing, but knowing those ideas will be taken seriously.
Right.
Collins suggests actively seeking input from everywhere, from employees at all levels.
Customers, even competitors.
Competitors.
Yeah. Sometimes the best insights come from the most unexpected places.
I can see how that fresh perspective could be so invaluable.
Yeah.
It's like getting a peek behind the curtain of someone else's playbook.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of diversity.
Right.
Hiring people with different backgrounds and experiences. Yeah. It creates this melting pot of ideas that can lead to some real breakthrough innovations.
That makes sense. A team with a range of perspectives is going to be much more adaptable and innovative than one where everyone thinks alike.
Absolutely.
But just having diversity isn't enough, is it?
No, it's not.
You need to create an environment where those different voices can be heard.
You hit the nail on the head,
Yeah.
It's about fostering a culture where respectful debate is encouraged.
Right.
Where people can challenge each other's assumptions and push for the best solutions.
Right. So you're saying conflict can actually be a good thing.
It can.
As long as it's channeled productively.
Right. It's that constructive friction.
That ignites true innovation.
Okay. I like that. What are some examples of companies that have done this well?
Well, Collins talks about how Apple didn't invent the core ideas behind the Macintosh. They got those ideas from Xerox.
Oh, wow.
Who had been developing, mouse and icon technology, but they didn't fully grasp its potential.
So sometimes innovation isn't about being the first.
Right.
It's about recognizing the brilliance in someone else's idea and making it even better.
Exactly. And then you've got Ray Kroc.
Right.
Who didn't invent the McDonald's concept.
Right.
But he saw the potential in what McDonald Brothers had created.
Right.
And he scaled it into a global phenomenon.
That's inspiring. But how do you go from inspiration to action? How do you actually translate those innovative ideas into tangible results?
Well, Collins emphasizes the importance of experimentation.
Okay.
The most innovative companies are constantly trying new things.
Right.
Even if it means failing sometimes.
Yeah.
He uses this great analogy of Gordon, the guided missile.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So Gordon is this missile
Okay.
that's constantly adjusting its course based on feedback,
Okay.
making tiny corrections along the way
Right.
to ultimately hit its target.
So it's not about getting it perfect on the first try. It's
No,
about being willing to iterate and learn from your mistakes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gives examples like 3M
Yeah.
and the Post-it note, which was born out of a series of accidents and experiments.
Right.
And then there's Percy Spencer,
Yeah.
the engineer who discovered the microwave oven by accident while
Wow.
working on radar technology.
Those are great examples of how those unexpected discoveries can lead to some pretty game-changing innovation.
Absolutely.
It makes you wonder how many brilliant ideas are just waiting to be stumbled upon.
Right, and that's why Collins stresses the importance of creating a culture that encourages risk-taking
Right.
and views failure as a learning opportunity, not a setback.
Right, like those Apple flops, the Apple III and the Lisa computers. Those failures paved the way for the iconic Macintosh.
Exactly. So you're saying that even the most successful companies,
Yeah,
they make mistakes.
right.
It's how they learn and adapt that sets them apart.
That makes a lot of sense. And that brings us back to one of Collins's core principles.
Yeah.
Tactical excellence.
Right.
That ability to execute with precision and consistency.
Day in and day out.
We talked about this earlier, the 6-part process of
Right.
hiring, enculturating, training, goal setting, measuring, and appreciating.
It's a lot to remember.
It is. But how does all of this relate to innovation?
Well, innovation isn't just about coming up with those new ideas.
Yeah.
It's about bringing those ideas to life.
Right.
And that requires a team
Right.
that is skilled, motivated, and aligned with your vision.
So it's about having the right people in the right roles with the right training and support.
Exactly. And then it's about setting clear goals, tracking your progress, and celebrating those successes.
Right, like Jim Miller of Miller Business Systems and his 24-hour customer order fulfillment goal.
Right.
And Deluxe Corporation's pursuit of zero printing defects.
Right. Those are great examples of setting a high bar and then creating the systems and processes to actually achieve it.
And don't forget the importance of appreciating your team along the way,
Oh, absolutely.
recognizing and rewarding those who go above and beyond.
Right. It reinforces that culture of excellence.
Okay, so we've got the people, the processes, the goals. What about communication? How does that play into tactical excellence?
Well, Collins stresses that clear, concise communication
Yeah,
is absolutely paramount.
right. But it's not just about delivering information.
No,
It's about connecting with your team on a human level.
exactly.
So what does that look like in practice?
Well, he suggests writing memos that feel like personal conversations,
Mm-hmm.
even when you're addressing serious topics.
Right. And remember that CEO who announced layoffs
Yeah.
with honesty and empathy?
Yeah, it's about being authentic and transparent,
Right.
even in those difficult situations.
Mm-hmm. It's such a powerful reminder that leadership isn't just about delivering the message.
Right.
It's about how you deliver it.
Exactly. And it's not just about top-down communication.
Right.
It's about creating a culture where everyone feels comfortable sharing their ideas, asking questions,
Yeah.
even, respectfully challenging the status quo.
So it's about creating that open dialogue, that free flow of information and ideas.
Absolutely.
But even with great communication, there's always that challenge
Yeah.
of time management.
Right. A leader's time is their most precious resource.
We all have the same 24 hours.
We do. Collins encourages that shift in perspective
Yeah.
from, what am I going to do to how am I going to spend my time?
Right. It's about being intentional and prioritizing what truly matters.
Exactly. And that includes making time for things like reinforcing your company's values.
Like Debbie Fields and her $600 cookie toss.
Sometimes those symbolic actions
Right.
speak much louder than words.
I like that now. Remember all these principles. They're meant to be guideposts, not rigid rules.
Right.
You have to adapt them to your unique context
Right.
and the specific challenges that you face.
It's not a one-size-fits-all.
So there's no magic formula,
Yeah.
no one-size-fits-all approach to building a great company.
Right.
It's about taking these principles and making them your own.
And it's about embracing that journey
Yeah.
with passion, discipline, and a commitment to excellence.
Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive into Beyond Entrepreneurship 2.0,
Yeah.
what's the one message you would leave our listeners with?
Well, building a great company, it's not about luck or shortcuts. It's about making a series of smart choices, consistently executing on those choices, and cultivating a culture that attracts and retains exceptional people.
It's a journey.
It's about having that clear vision,
Yeah,
a sound strategy, and the discipline to see it through.
absolutely. And Most importantly, it's about remembering that the true measure of success
Right.
isn't just financial performance.
Oh,
It's the impact you have on the world.
I love that.
Beautifully said. We hope you've enjoyed this deep dive and found these insights as valuable as we have.
Me too.
Remember, building a great company is a marathon, not a sprint. Stay focused, stay curious, and never stop striving for excellence.
Until next time, keep diving deep.